Alright, out here in the back of the workshop where I made my makeshift chicken coop slash run. Going to open up the door. So every morning I'm out here feeding the birds, letting them out, making sure they've got food and water, and everything is relatively clean and refreshed. Yep, they're good and healthy. They're expecting snacks and treats because every time I open up the door, I usually give it to them, but right now they're just going to get a video camera in the face. Yeah, they're good. I'm going to open up the coop door. Any offerings? Oh, there we go. One so far. Nope, he's not going to peek his head in. Oh well. One so far, we'll be back for the rest later. Alright, put you in there for now. That's the chickens. Gotta do a quick check out in here just to see what's going on. Things are looking fairly good, but we're supposed to get some pretty chilly temperatures tonight, possibly even down to -4. So that's going to put a hurt on anything that's out here and can't tolerate freezing temperatures. So probably going to have to make some space in the got a big old transport going by. Probably going to have to make some space in the workshop, bring these in for the night just to make sure that the tender, warm, heat-loving crops can survive. Still potting up all the little berry bushes and stuff that are out in a fruit orchard. Decided to pop up and got to take care of them, or else that fruit orchard area is just going to become a wild mess. So, going to have that to do later on today. Other than that, things are going pretty good out here. Except for those. Yeah, I should probably talk about that. I was going to do a bunch of planting out, then, just kind of got tired, went inside, forgot about it, left it for a day. Then we had a big old windstorm. I live in a breezy area, it's up on a ridge, westerly facing, and so we get some pretty strong winds whipping through here. So we had a day of really strong winds, dried out a lot of those little seedling trays. There's just not enough soil in there to keep them hydrated. They all dried out, they're pretty much dead, they're toast. Maybe not the parsley and, what is that? Caraway. Parsley and caraway. Everything else is gone, so I'm going to have to repot some of that stuff, or start new seeds with some of that stuff, and get that ready to go out in the garden when they're ready. Out here, some stuff has started to pop up, specifically over here. A couple days ago, maybe a week ago, I planted out my peas, or sowing them out, and they're starting to pop up through here. And I got two varieties, so I got homesteaders in a row here and a row along that fence line, and then out there I have alderman, or tall telephone, and everything's starting to pop up there now. I did get some of those small leafy greens planted out, but as I said before, the rest of them I just left in the potted trays and they suffered. So oh well, no big deal. Can always make more. Over here, got some kale. Kale are coming back this year, so they're going to go to seed as a biennial. This is the year they're going to go to seed, but they're going to produce a lot of small leaves and little flowering heads, and those are going to be tasty. So I've got red Russian there, dwarf curled Scotch over there, green sorrel and onions over there, and I have an anise hyssop decided to pop up out here, so that's nice. It's always nice to have a perennial that smells and tastes like black licorice. And I think either a parsley or a caraway decided to pop up there. Over here, still cleaning out the chicken coop bedding from last year. That's going to make some great potting soil for the fruit and berry bushes that I'm potting up. And so I'm taking care of that. I'm going to start bagging some of it up and storing it away for when I need it. And a lot of the perennial herbs and berry bushes that I have already are coming along quite nicely. Yeah, especially the mint. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Well, no, I do know. I'm going to plant it all over the place, and I'm going to let it grow rampantly and have a big, minty, leafy, wonderful smelling herb garden somewhere. And more anise hyssop. I love that plant. Anyways, yeah, things are coming along good here. Still got that second bin to clear out. Got to finish clearing out this bin. That's going to produce a lot of potting soil. Very fertile stuff to be growing these plants in. So, good stuff going on here. And I should also mention that this is the first time that I haven't actually covered any of the beds with leaves, shredded leaves, to break down over winter or put on in the springtime. That's simply because I was able to produce and generate a lot of compost last year. And with all the broken down leaves that I had put on last year, the beds are pretty much all covered in compost. So, no leaves for me this year. There's some leaves here and there. They always make their way into the mix, but that's okay. The only place I did cover with leaves is when I overwintered my garlic. I've got regular music variety, regular garlic here called music. And over there I've got some elephant garlic coming up. So I think this is the only bed that I had covered in leaves. Got some parsnips and some parsley over here, so the parsnips overwintered almost better than they did in the cold storage in the basement, but these will come back and produce seeds this year, so I'll have fresh parsnip seed this year. Should also have parsley seed, so that'll be good. Strawberries coming on strong. Should have a good crop of strawberries in there. Waiting for the asparagus. They're just starting to pop out now. A little closer to the asparagus now, and yeah, they're coming in. I've got one row that's doing quite well, popping up, and I should actually get all of this covered up in some sort of compost or mulch. I didn't do it this year, so I don't know how well the crop or harvest is going to be. But this row next to the physical barrier I just put in isn't doing so well, probably because I hacked through a bunch of roots. So probably not going to do so well this year. Oh well. Dandelions are coming in, so that means a brew of dandelion wine is coming in. It's going to be made pretty soon. This isn't going to be the whole crop of dandelions. I've got a whole field out in the back full of dandelions, so going to be harvesting that stuff soon and getting a dandelion wine on the go soon. So here is a spring update of the fruit orchard, and getting a lot of good growth on the rhubarb right now. It is growing wonderfully. Most of these I think are going to put out a flowering stalk, so we'll see. I may keep one or two just to, give the pollinating insects something to do. But yeah, it's going to be a big old flowering stalk there. But everything else is really starting to leaf out. The blackberries, the currants, the raspberries. Did have 7-foot tall canes coming out here, but the deer came through, trampled on pretty much most of them, nibbled down the rest of them, so that's going to stunt the harvest a bit. But what did happen is that caused these guys to throw up a ton of sucker roots, and that's what I'm going to have fun trying to pot up. Is there's got to be at least 20 plants in here I've got to dig up and try to contain back to the original 10 that I had here, or else they're just going to grow everywhere. But past the raspberries, we've got the gooseberries, we've got some elderberries, blueberry, and rows of haskap. All that stuff is leafing out. The trees are leafing out now, so I've got a Lodi apple right there. It was trimmed by the deer. It actually did a pretty good job of pruning it up, so I'm not dissatisfied with that. So we'll let that grow. And over here, I've got a Honeycrisp. It's a stick. It's not as bad as the other Honeycrisp stick, but it's doing pretty good. It's got a lot of branches down closer to the bottom. And we'll let that leaf out and grow another year and see what I can do with it later. And the ever-present pile of leaf bags and cardboard and stuff that I'm still going to be using to cover and smother the grass in between. Who knows, I might try to grow some sweet potatoes in a raised bed. I'm not going to say a raised bed, really. What I'm going to do is possibly border this area with logs, cover it with cardboard, and fill it full of leaves and compost and grow potatoes in there. Why not? It's free space. This is going to suffer for a little while yet. I just covered and smothered this last fall, so this is still going to take a while. Hey, the rhubarb is coming on strong, a lot better than it did last year. It pretty much died off about a month after it came out, and I'm surprised at almost all of them came back. I think all of them did. But as this is a freshly covered and smothered bed, I still have all the perennial stuff trying to make its way through here, so I'm going to have to keep on top of that. Other than that, everything is coming along nicely. And the strawberries, the gooseberries, and the grapevines over there along the fence line, they're doing good too. I really have to get on taking those strawberry plants that I had potted up last year and getting them out into somewhere in the garden. Lots of stuff going on out here. Yeah, almost overwhelming, but I'm never worried about it. If I get to it, great, and if I don't, that's great. I'll get to it another time. It's not like the strawberries won't throw out another bunch of runners this year, and I can take those and plant them out somewhere. Like, say, the backfield. Wow. That is an old field meadow right now. This meadow is actually what the fruit orchard was starting to look like before I started hacking it down and covering and smothering these areas. I had to start with mowing it down, trimming it down, getting the grass to grow, and then once the grass was growing, then I had to cover and smother it. But that was after I already had all these plants in here, so that was a bit of a pain. I had to redo everything over again. If I had to, I won't. I would definitely want to do the cover and smother first, and the plants come afterwards. But, yeah. So, this is an old field meadow. I'm going to have to cut this area down a little bit, try to manage it, clear some of it out. And then I've got, back there is a whole grassy meadow lawn, and meadow field, lawn, whatever. Lots of grass. And that's where I'm going to get my dandelions from. I do not grow in an ideal location. So, lots of trees, but there's a lot of evergreens. Luckily, a lot of this is on the north side, but I have a big pile of evergreens on the south side. And this garden tends to get a lot of shade. You can almost consider this a glade or a meadow within a forested area. And so it gets a lot of shade and shadow from these trees, but it also acts as a bit of a heat trap. So kind of get an extreme of temperatures. So when the sun comes out, it gets really warm here. But hey, when we get some cooler nights, things tend to get a little frosty around here. So It's the best of both or the worst of both. Hard to say. But it's my climate and it's what I got to deal with. So that's that. And still got composting operations going on. So this is a bin that was freshly turned about 2-3 weeks ago, and it's continuing to break down. It's still steaming, so we'll let that break down a little bit more. That's probably what I'm going to use to fill some of the beds to grow potatoes in. And we got a pile of fresh stuff. Hey, I keep my composting simple. Simple set of pallets, either screwed or wired together. Some slab boards on the front that I screw in as I build the beds up. And inside there, I basically throw in coffee grounds, shredded leaves, grass clippings, kitchen scraps, chicken bedding. Everything goes in there in layers. I try to mix up the layers a little bit so that you get some nitrogen, some carbon. I surround everything with a wall of carbon cardboard boxes, and that tends to keep things moist, but not soggy. And it seems to work pretty well. So, yeah, composting still going on. Also have some charcoal I throw in there from the fire pit, and so I'm making biochar, and that'll all go out in the garden probably in the fall. At least this bin will. And here we have the ever-present pile of leaf bags. Still got them scattered all over the place along my little corridor here, where I do all my shredding of the leaves. And they get some grass clippings and some weeds in there, and it's all good for breaking down and composting. So this little section also has strawberries, some fruit bushes along the back corridor there, along that row of logs. And we've got rhubarb. Another area I want to plant out for some shady crops. And 40-foot long herb bed full of pretty much everything I got. So, yeah, sage, lemon balm, mint, good King Henry, winter savory, Egyptian walking onion, lovage in the back there sticking up, oregano everywhere, oregano. What do we got? Got some strawberries in there, hidden amongst all the oregano. And so we got some green sorrel, some red sorrel, lemon thyme. Did have some horseradish in here, but I dug it all out, so hopefully most of that's potted up, but I know I didn't get it all. And more oregano. Lots of oregano. That's the herb bed. Love seeing that, as that's like the greenest part of the garden in early spring. Followed by the ever-leafing out fruit orchard. So here we have the old wild mess. It's the ever-present mess of things that are always in transition, always changing. But it's a productive mess, and it's one of those messes that takes a little bit of work every day. But I'm happy to do it. I do get to see the results of my efforts, and I do get to enjoy the benefits of the harvest and the productivity of this garden right now. So I'm going to have to get back to work. There's still a lot to do. Yeah. And so this was the update of the garden in spring, mid-May, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.